Hi, this is immigration attorney Meg Moss with an update for my clients. For those of you who have pending cases, I'm happy to report that Asylum is not dead. We had a great win this morning at the Hyattsville Immigration Court. My Cameroonian client did a fantastic job telling what happened to her, and the judge was, I think, impressed with her filings and all of her evidence and the consistency with which everything just flowed. So she was granted asylum. Both her and the government decided to waive appeal, so she has full asylum. So happy to report it's not dead, in case you've heard that. So I wanted to go through the reasons why she actually won her case, okay? There's 9 reasons that I've identified, and I'm gonna go through them right now. The first reason she won her case was that she actually had a viable asylum claim. So asylum is granted because you meet one of the requirements, either your race, religion, particular social group, or one of the protected grounds, basically. So it's really important that you make sure that you actually meet that. And you don't necessarily need an attorney to figure that out, but it will help a lot because there are some particular social groups or some imputed political opinions or actual political opinions that you may not be thinking of that actually are what your strongest claim would be based on. So it's really important that you identify that and make sure it's very clearly laid out in your filings and in what is covered in court. So that's the first thing. Make sure you actually have a viable asylum claim. Asylum's not granted because the judge likes you and wants to do something nice for you. It's because you meet the actual requirements, okay? Second, she worked with a lawyer, and I'm not saying you absolutely have to have a lawyer, and it doesn't have to be me, certainly. You just really need a lawyer these days to navigate this landscape. The government is out to identify any way to sink your case, and it can be very legally complicated when they do that. They do motions to preterm it, not just on the Uganda rule for my Cameroonian clients, but also just if your application's not complete or you didn't provide enough evidence or didn't actually articulate what your claim is based on. They can preterm it your case based on just that. So it's important that you work with a lawyer. Third, make sure you tell the truth, okay? Judges have a radar that just like a laser. When you start launching into exaggerations and things that are not true, they lock on immediately. So just tell the truth, okay? If you don't remember, you don't know, that's one thing. But if you're actually not telling the truth, you're going to sink your case really quickly. So that's important. Next, make sure that you have very detailed evidence. You've gone through everything very with a fine-tooth comb. You've not missed anything. All your dates are perfect, your locations make sense, and just every single detail is reviewed, okay? It's very easy to forget those details, and that can very quickly derail a case when things don't make sense logistically, locations don't make sense, timeline to travel from one place to another doesn't make sense. So make sure that you're getting all that correct in your statements. Next, don't forget to pay the fees. Sometimes cases can go sideways when the original application fee or the annual asylum annual fee hasn't been paid for cases. This also includes cases that are on appeal. You still have to pay the annual fee if your case is on appeal. So make sure you don't miss those things. Again, number 6 is credibility. You win your case because you're credible. That means the judge believes you. That can come down to a lot of things. That could be using an interpreter if you need one. It could be that you speak clearly and the judge can understand you when you're talking. You know, if you talk really quiet, and the judge can't hear you, that can be really frustrating, and it can really be a hit to your credibility. Credibility is also just about how consistent everything is. When you explain what happened to you, it should all make sense and it should match up to everything that was said previously. So that's super important. I can't stress enough the importance of having a country conditions expert report with your application and for your hearing to testify at your hearing if you're in court. So a country conditions expert is a third-party person who's an expert in your country. That person can explain what's going on in that country, the facts of your case, and how that applies to the situation in your country, and they can answer questions from the judge when judges aren't that familiar with your country. That happens sometimes too. So having a country conditions expert is essential. So what they do is they would analyze your case and then provide a report on their opinion about your case. But then they would also testify in court if needed to explain the details of your case and how it is connected to your country. So super important. I can't stress that enough. It's not cheap to add this to your case, but I can't stress enough that you really need that. And next, again, check every detail, every date, every location, make sure everything is correct and complete. For example, one of the questions on the asylum application is, did you ever travel to other countries before you came to the United States after you left your home country? Well, that includes stopovers in other countries. Maybe you were just in transit on a flight, but that counts. You need to mention that, how long you were there, if you left the airport, anything like that. All that needs to go in there. So those are the kinds of details that you don't want to forget. And last but not least, do not submit any fake documents. That will sink your case faster than anything right now, especially for my clients from Cameroon. What that means is do not go and create evidence to support your case. Okay, that means arrest warrants, medical reports, affidavits, anything like that. If you need guidance, talk to your attorney on what will suffice for those things if you can't get the evidence that you're looking for. But do not, under any circumstances, have it made. Okay, so for example, if somebody told you that you needed an arrest warrant, so you went online and found a template and filled it out, and or somebody did for you, and you tried to submit that, they're going to know. Okay, your lawyer should know. Your lawyer should screen for that and make sure you don't submit anything like that also. But 100% do not submit any fake documents. That's the fastest way to sink your case. So that's it for today. I just wanted to give everyone some hope and provide a couple of tips on what would make for a successful case. It worked for my client today. She met all these things I've just mentioned and had a successful outcome. Thanks again for watching, and please feel free to reach out if you have any questions.